Have you ever noticed how many photos are stored in your phone but you haven't looked at them in years? Thousands of pictures, carefully categorized by year, event, or face. Yet most of them remain untouched, gathering digital dust. Why do we keep photos we never look at? It's not just a question about storage. It's a question about memory, about what we're truly trying to hold on to, and what we're too afraid to let go of. Sometimes we take photos simply out of habit. A good meal, a beach sunset, a group selfie we'll forget tomorrow. Other times, we snap to remember. But then life moves on, and those pictures become tiny time capsules we're not sure how to open anymore. But still, we keep them, because a part of us believes one day we might need to look back. One day, we might need to feel something again. And those photos will be there, just in case. So the real question is not, why do we keep them? But rather, what do we fear we'll lose if we let them go? We don't just keep moments, we keep what we've already lost. A photo is not just a picture, it's a memory, frozen. But more than that, it's a portal to a version of ourselves we might not know how to return to anymore. We keep photos of people we don't speak to anymore, places that don't exist, smiles that no longer belong to us. Why? Because even if we've moved on, some part of us still wants to remember what it felt like to be there, to be them, to be loved. And sometimes, we're not holding on to the image, we're holding on to a timeline, a before and after we're too afraid to admit has already passed. That's why we can't delete the photo of the old apartment, the blurry shot of someone's birthday, the picture of the dog we no longer have. Because deep down, we know if we delete the photo, it feels like we're deleting the only proof that moment ever existed. But here's the irony. We never look at them. We just keep them. Not because we need them now, but because we're not ready to say goodbye. When memories fade into data, here's a strange paradox. The more we capture, the less we remember. In the past, a photo required intention. You bought film, framed the shot, waited days to develop it, and placed it in an album with a handwritten note. Today, just a tap, a swipe, a stream of images. One moment blurs into the next. Psychologists call this the photo-taking impairment effect. When we rely on photos to remember, our brain stops trying to remember on its own. It assumes the device will do the job, so the moment becomes weaker in our memory. The photo becomes our crutch, and ironically, our experience becomes more fragile. Ever recorded an entire concert only to realize later you don't actually remember being there? Or taken so many pictures at a birthday that you forgot to enjoy the celebration itself? We're not just saving images. We're trading presence for permanence. And because we have so many copies, none of them feel truly special. In trying to preserve everything, we forget the one truth about memory. Some moments are meant to be lived, not stored. They're not for proof. They're not for posts. They're for you. Emotional hoarding. Why the brain doesn't let go. Your brain is not a filing cabinet. It's a storyteller. And it protects the stories that meant something, even when you no longer want to read them. When you glance at an old photo, even for a second, your amygdala, the brain's emotional center, activates. It labels that photo as emotionally significant. This is why, even if the memory is bittersweet or painful, your brain holds on to it like a relic. It's not about usefulness. It's about attachment. Psychologists call this emotional hoarding, the tendency to keep emotional artifacts, not because they serve a purpose, but because they represent something we're not ready to face. Deleting a photo may seem simple, but your brain reads it as a micro loss, like throwing away a part of who you were, or letting go of a version of yourself you haven't properly said goodbye to. Add to that a bias we all share: loss aversion. We fear losing something more than we desire gaining something else. So even if we gain clarity by letting go, we still hesitate, just in case. There's also dopamine. When you browse old photos, your brain releases tiny hits of pleasure. Not intense, but enough to remind you, keep this, you might need it later. So no, you're not being weak for holding on to old pictures. You're just being human. You're letting your nervous system do what it's designed to do. Preserve what once kept you safe. Not deletion, not detachment, just learning to carry it differently. Not everyone keeps photos because they're stuck in the past, and not everyone who deletes them has moved on. Sometimes keeping a photo is just a quiet way of saying thank you. Thank you to a version of me that survived. Thank you to moments that made me feel alive. Thank you to the people, gone or distant, who once made my life brighter. Some people scroll through old albums once a year, not to feel sad, but to remind themselves of how far they've come. Others choose to keep only the photos that still bring a soft smile, images that feel like warm echoes, not chains. To save a memory is not to freeze it, it's to acknowledge it. Photos are not cages for your past. They are bookmarks, reminders that life has chapters and that you are still writing the next one. So maybe the question isn't, should I keep this or let it go? But rather, what story does this photo still tell me? And does that story make me feel heavy or whole? Because ultimately, the goal is not to remember less or more. It's to remember wisely. To live fully in the present while carrying your memories like leaves pressed gently between the pages. Not weights strapped to your chest. And if you've never looked at a certain photo, but still can't bring yourself to delete it, maybe that's okay. Maybe that photo has already done its job. It reminded you that something once mattered, and that you once mattered too. Thank you for being here, for listening, not just with your ears, but with your memories too. If this story made you pause, made you remember, or simply made you feel a little less alone, consider subscribing. There's always more to explore, not just about the world, but about the quiet places inside us. See you in the next video, and until then, take care of your stories.